All right, guys. Well, welcome. It's been a few weeks since I did one of these updates. What we do here is we look at the macro picture to help us determine where the market, both the stock market and the crypto market, is going to go, what direction it's headed. We do that by looking at major indication charts such as the dollar, the VIX. We've been looking at gold and oil that helps play a part in determining direction. We've been using the S&P 500 chart to help determine market direction. And for crypto, we've been looking at Bitcoin dominance, the total 3 chart, which is all of altcoins excluding Ethereum. And of course, we look to our leader, Bitcoin. Another thing we're going to do in this video is I'm going to talk a little bit about my indicator. I've created a special indicator to help me visualize where I'm getting my sell signals and major sell signals and major buy signals. Not all sell signals, not all buy signals, but the major ones will be represented here. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we're going to start here on the dollar chart as always. And before I begin, let me just explain. This is something I created with PineScript. You see these red dots and green dots. It basically just helps me visualize where my indicator combo is flashing buy and where it's flashing sell. And what I do is I pair this up with Lux Algo's liquidity blocks. And so when I get a green dot, like down here on the dollar, that's a major buy signal. So we got one here and pumped. We got one here just right in this liquidity block and pumped. Now up here we are getting a sell signal. All right. And that comes at a level that I've drawn here on the chart. Yeah, let me move that over. Anyways, this just helps me quickly visualize where my combo is flashing buy or sell. I just created that Pine script. Nah, I shouldn't take credit for it. I should say AI created the Pine script for me, but it really helps me out. All right, so let's talk about what the markets are doing here. It seems that Uptober is postponed at least. Is it going to be canceled altogether? Unknown. We're almost at the end of the month, though. And I think what's happening here, guys, is the election cycles around the world, not just here in the US. I don't want to be one of those American exceptionalists and thinking that everything revolves around the US and the US economy, though much of it does. But all around the world, I think I read somewhere that 50% of the global countries and population are experiencing major shifts politically. And so this uncertainty, I believe, is playing into what the markets are doing until after these elections take place. So, for instance, in crypto, we usually expect during this cycle run up in October, and we call it Uptober. Well, that really hasn't happened in crypto. Um, we've seen a little bit of it on Bitcoin, but not in the altcoin space. So we need to understand why this is occurring. And without further ado, let's take a look at this dollar chart here. So you can see I've got the sell signal printed here on my chart. I'm just trying to grab this circle. And I want to drag it down here because this is where I was surprised at what the dollar did. All right, so you see this orange line here. That is representing the 350-day moving average, or also the 50-week moving average. I want it drawn on my chart because it is pretty significant, pretty important, especially when it's intersecting the 200-day moving average, which is in red. I know that is not very thick. Perhaps I could thicken up those lines, but you get the point. It's in the middle of those circles. And so I thought that was an area of confluence that the dollar would stop at, but instead it came up even further to our 104 level, at which point my signal indicator flashed red and we began to sell. So now here is what I anticipate. Of course, we see this move already has happened. But is it possible that the dollar starts coming down again now until we hit maybe this uh, purple ascending trend line? You can see we formed this W pattern perfectly, and it's up. I would say it's played out. I would say that is done. So I am expecting and have been expecting, those of you who follow me know this, the dollar to come back down in price again. And when the dollar, and it looks like it is rolling over, when the dollar does come back down in price, that is usually a good signal for stocks to continue up and along with that crypto. But we need the VIX to cooperate with us. So let's just take a look at the VIX, and you will see that the VIX is still relatively low, all things considered. I mean, of course, it's elevated a little bit here. You can see this orange box at the bottom. That represents a channel or an area that we've pretty much remained within for the last 2 years. All right. So because the election cycle is coming up, that causes a lot of uncertainty. So we can't expect this to be elevated a little bit here. And actually, I'm kind of surprised it's not elevated more. But with the VIX being down and the dollar looks to be turning, right? The dollar looks to be turning down. We can expect our stocks to continue up. And so I have something drawn here, which may or may not be correct. Don't pay attention to that right now. That's this down arrow and up arrow. I do think that we could come back down to test that purple, what was a neckline on a weekly basis for a large cup and handle pattern. But I don't know that for sure. That's just me suggesting such things. With the elections here in the U.S. looming, and this being the S&P 500, I definitely think we could see that. I definitely think that's not only a possibility, but maybe also a probability. But we need to continue to watch the VIX and the dollar to see what they're going to do. Anyways, that along with the fact that I've got a sell signal flashing here, see the big red dot? All right, that's telling me, and we've got multiple red dots here, so it's telling me that the S&P 500 is a little overbought at this point. And I don't think it's unreasonable to expect us to pull back, especially with the market being up 40% already on the year. And my expectations are that this blow off top will continue. Of course, I have target 1 here because I think we'll expect some hesitation around 6,000. That's a major psychological barrier marker. So I drew the bottom of my target 1 there. But my final target is really up around 650, 700 for this blow off top, represented not only by Elliott Wave, which I do not have drawn on this chart, apologies for that, but also a larger weekly cup and handle pattern, also not seen on this chart. Very good. It gives me a very good idea of where the market will end up going by actually the end of 2025. I think that is when our bull run ends for a few years. And crypto will be dragged along with this. If it's not dragged, it may, in fact, end up leading this blow off top or this market run. All right, another thing we've been looking at is gold. Gold is at an all-time high. I keep getting red signals flashed on it, and it just keeps moving up. No telling where this is going to go. I do see somewhat of a channel here. On the upside, this would be the upside of the channel. This would be the downside of the channel. And at some point, these channels break. We've reached the top of that channel again. So we can expect gold to come down at some point and maybe even break the bottom of that channel. And when people move money out of gold, that generally means they're going to move it somewhere else. Sometimes it's the dollar. Sometimes it's risk on assets, like the stock market and cryptos. Um, Giving us a better idea is energy. Energy cost always plays into what these corporations can do in terms of employment, how much elbow room they have in terms of profit, because, of course, anytime we have cheaper energy prices, corporations, businesses are making more profit. And so here you can see that energy prices represented by US oil, admittedly, this is not energy prices, this is just US oil. But we've been following this because oil plays a big factor in transportation costs, and not only for industrial trucking, but also as you guys go to your jobs. The more that you can save when you go to the pump, the more that Americans will then spend. I do see a little bit of a trend line there, meaning for energy or for oil to come down even further, it probably it's been using this as support. It would need to break that and come down a little bit further for us to really see acceleration in the market on that blow off top. So because I was expecting us to come down, test that neckline, and then bounce on the SPY, it could mean for oil, or oil could mean for the SPY, that we bounce here on this trend line, which we've actually already done, and continue moving up for a little while before we come back down. So this arrow may not be in the correct location. It may be further up the ladder here before we break down and eventually break that trend line. The last signal given on this was green, which is buy for oil, which means oil should continue up for a little while. And I see a point of control here on the VRVP right at 73.48. So that all aligns with my current synopsis. Let's move on to Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is still in this very large, very long. Let me see if I can zoom out here a little bit, put it in auto mode. Ascending wedge, which is bearish overall. And we've hit the top of that triangle once again. But again, guys, we can continue. We don't have to break down to the underside of this for quite a while. We can continue squeezing here all the way through next year, January, February, even March. We could go all the way up in this thing. At some point, though, I do expect us to break down. And when that happens, that signals the beginning of the altcoin bull run. Let's take a look at Total 3, which is all of the altcoins excluding Ethereum. Last signal that was given by my combo is this red dot here, and you can see it comes right in a liquidity block. That is very significant, usually always correct. Additionally, we see a little bit of ascending wedge here, bearish for altcoins. So this is showing me that we may not in fact have our Uptober, our altcoin bull run, until I think we'll still get it before the end of the year, at least the start of it. But we have to see the shenanigans that goes on here in the US elections. Previously I said that Joe Biden would not be the next president. This was before the media turned on him. All right, the media was still propagating their narrative that he was going to be the next president. And of course, we have a lot of, I call them NPCs. They just blindly believe whatever, Fox News or CNN or MSNBC tells them about politics. All right. And unfortunately, that type of programming does and has worked. We've seen that. And so there are a lot of people that, if the media supported Biden, Biden could have won. Because the media, of course, is on his side and the establishment. But they turned on Biden. Of course, that was to be expected. He was getting old, could hardly form a sentence, could hardly walk upstairs, etc., etc. And so the media collapsed on him and said, "Hey, here's your candidate," and they threw Kamala out there. I happen to think, I know it's only 2 weeks away from the election. I happen to believe that Kamala also will not be the next president. Not only will she not be the next president, um, I don't. I think there's something coming down the pipe here. The charts are showing me this. Everything is turning red. Uh, People with lots of money and lots of power know stuff and things. That's the only reason all these charts turn red at once. I mean, we have everything in the market and everything in crypto starting to turn over. And I'll get to that in just a bit. But the conspiracy theorist in me, which unfortunately has been right more than wrong these last 4 years or so, has been correct about at least politics here in the U.S. And this is me not being political, just making predictions so we can make predictions on chart. So there's good reason for this pause in the market. Let me just say it that way. There may be good reason why the bulls are postponing their run at the moment. And we need to understand that and also use caution until we know what the situation, what the outcome of the elections are going to be. Nobody knows. Anything is possible in this reality. We've seen that already. So expect anything. And you can see here on this chart that we have formed, or we are forming, I should say, an M pattern, and this is also a bearish pattern. So you could expect us to come back down to test the top of that triangle once again, which is going to really devastate a lot of alts at this point, which basically have been bleeding for the last 3 years, with the exclusion of October through March of this year. And it's been very, very challenging trading these altcoins. But we've managed to make profit here. And with my new indicator, so far, guys, I'm at 24 trades. 23 of them have been wins, only one loss. A very good record with the new implementation of the new trading strategy. And I hope to continue that. One of the trades, I'll jump there real quick. Let me see where we're at time-wise, is Tesla. We made that. We've got the first buy signal right here. Let me get out my arrow so you can see where I'm pointing. And that was in a large liquidity block. I like that, but I wanted to wait at the moment to see what the market would do. It went back up. We got a sell signal. Came back down, gapped way down to this trend line, which is almost also at the liquidity block. And I was like, well, that's a major trend line, and we're getting a major buy signal. Let's buy there. First, I didn't know if it was going to work out. If I zoom in here, which I will do, you can see we had this candle drop below the trend line. All right, fake the bears out. I still held because I had a 1-to-2 risk-reward ratio, so my stops were not hit. And then next day, gapped way up, and we're still making profits on this particular trade. So congratulations to those of you who trusted my new indicator system, and my call on this trade made a lot of profit. I think we're sitting at, let me just check my stocks. We're sitting at like 25%. Almost 25% so far on this particular trade. A very good trade. The only other one I'm in is a degen play. I just wanted to see how my indicator would do on GME. It doesn't tend to be as reliable on the smaller cap altcoins, which is why we lost one. All right, I played HNT, Helium in the crypto space. I knew it was kind of a risky play with my indicator system. Tends to do very well on the large cap alts, large cap alts, large cap cryptos, and large cap stocks isn't necessarily as reliable on the smaller cap. All right, and that's why we hit Tesla. Tesla is part of the Magnificent Seven, right? And I got these buy signals, and I was like, I'm in on this one. And 25% is great profit. I mean, we do. I call that a great trade in crypto. And crypto, in my opinion, tends to offer better profit possibilities than stocks, though I'm learning that that's not necessarily always the case. Tesla has proven me wrong on that one. All right, finally, guys, we've got a couple of minutes here. Actually, not much time at all for TradingView people to cover. I'm going to have to speed up my TradingView video to cover Bitcoin. What's happening on Bitcoin? All right, well, first thing is we broke out of this descending channel, long-standing descending channel from March of 2024, and we broke that. So everybody at that point on Twitter, all the bulls were just, going crazy, thinking, okay, here comes our 100,000. This is Uptober. Everything else, every single trader out there was bullish. And even though we broke the top of this channel, I saw that we were in these ascending wedges. That is a bearish sign. So I was like, well, hold on a second, guys. Let me pull up here something else. I'm going to have to really speed up this video for TradingView people. And this is the volumized order blocks by flux charts. I saw that we were getting right into this liquidity block or this order block. Not only that, but these ascending wedges, and not only that, but my signal flashed red. So I pulled half at the time. We were at 65. I pulled the other half once I got this signal, and I was out of Bitcoin and am out at the moment. All right. I think the trend remains down, guys. And I know a lot of you are not going to like that or agree with that. But until we see this lower high being beat and we create a higher high, which comes from over here at 70,000. In other words, we basically have to beat 70,000. Until we see that, I am not bullish. All right, I am bearish, and that probably will remain intact. That bias will remain intact until the elections. I think we could come all the way down. Honestly, with everything that I'm theorizing about these upcoming elections, I think there will be some shenanigans once again. And we'll see all sorts of crazy stuff you never imagined you would see here in the U.S. But we'll see that. And that could bring the market all the way back down, honestly, to this 48K neckline. Does that sound really bearish? Yes, that's because it is really bearish. That's just where I'm at this point. Now, if we don't get the election stuff going on and we just have a race between Kamala and Donald and the votes are counted properly and we don't have all these conspiracies floating around which create uncertainty and fear and doubt, etc., and Donald Trump just wins the election, all right, this is out of the picture then, all right? Then we only come down maybe to the, who knows, 60, I don't even know. But right now the trend is down and I'm waiting for a buy signal before I become positive again. All right, that is my video for the day. Hopefully it helps out. And if you found value in this, then please do your thing on YouTube or Substack or wherever you're watching this TradingView and let me know with a like or a comment, etc. Till the next video, peace. See ya.